welcome to the Healing Mama podcast. I'm your host, Danny Bonsignor, and I am so thankful you are here today. I pray that I can help encourage you to feel, to love, to heal, and to help encourage you to view all of your experiences, your conversations, and interactions all through a lens of love. All right, hello. As always, I am so grateful you are tuning in today. And this episode is going to be a little different. My family is going through some things, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. And if anything, I hope that I can give you comfort if you too are working through some things, and maybe I can help you feel not so alone. I do want to preface that I will be talking about miscarriage and infertility today. So if that's a sensitive topic for you, this might not be a good episode for you to listen in on. Or maybe it's the episode you need. I don't know. But, okay, let's just get into it. A little backstory. My husband and I have never prevented pregnancy after we had our first and currently only child. Our daughter is 3 years old. Well, she's 3 years old and a few months. Her birthday was in October. But we did start the whole tracking and trying after her first birthday. So having a big family is something that I dream of. And we got pregnant pretty quickly with our daughter. I was on birth control and I got off, and boom, a few months later we conceived. So I hadn't even considered the direction that our life has gone. Last year, after 14 months of being intentional and trying to get pregnant, I had finally got my first positive, and this was in December of 2022. So I was about 6.5 weeks at the time I took the test, and 24 hours after seeing pregnant on the digital screen, I started what would be my first miscarriage. Women have miscarriages all the time. I know this, but I was hopeful that I would never be able to understand the pain that came from that. And I used to think that at least with an early miscarriage, it shouldn't hurt as bad, right? Because you didn't have as long to wrap your head around the pregnancy. But man, it hurts. And I don't think it matters how long you were pregnant. A miscarriage at any state is so freaking sad. And 13 months of seeing negative after negative after negative, and to finally get that positive test, it hurts. It hurts when you finally see that positive. And maybe you have never seen that positive, and so you are just month after month after month of negative. It was to finally have a positive and then have it ripped from you as quickly as it came. There were times when I didn't think that I could handle going through another miscarriage. Excuse me, because you can kind of hear in my voice too that I don't know if I'm tired or if I'm losing my voice or what, but you will definitely notice this in my voice. But anyways, I thought God knows my heart and He won't bring me through this again. There are so many emotions I would go on to fear in the year following my first miscarriage. Fear of getting pregnant again only to fear another miscarriage. Fear of what if I have to wait another year to see that positive sign. Fear of being hopeful. Fear of what if it does work out. I would go on to have so many conversations with God and lots of worst case scenarios. I never realized how scary it can be to be hopeful. And if anything, this has taught me how much I need to feel like I am in control, and how at the end of the day, there are just certain things that are out of my control. And learning to control the things that I can while growing my trust in God and figuring out how to be okay with not being in control. I've learned that there are different stages that you go through with infertility, and that at any moment, any stage can present itself. I have been angry. I have been so angry with God. I have been so angry that He has called me through this. Angry that at times I felt surrounded by nothing but pregnant women. Feeling like I see nothing but pregnancy announcements, new babies, and wanting nothing more than to have another perfect little baby. And just feeling so helpless because it's not something I can control. There were times I just had to laugh when yet another person in my life would become pregnant. And at some point, I stopped becoming angry. At some point, I accepted the lesson that was being presented. And every time I wanted to feel angry that it wasn't my turn, I started placing a hand on my stomach and thanking God for the life He has placed in my womb and for the healthy child He has already blessed me with. Another year of negative pregnancy tests, and I can't explain it. And unless you have lived through it, it's almost as if a tiny piece of your soul breaks with every negative test you take. And it is heart-wrenching. And I'm going to start crying because when I feel the need to cry, I just feel like it's important that I allow myself to cry, because my soul is healing itself with every tear. And man, it's so heart-wrenching. And I was so hopeful that after seeing the positive test I took almost 2 months ago, this wasn't something I would have to go through again for at least a few years. Just, the seeing a positive and stressing about another miscarriage. And I found out I was pregnant at 3 weeks, which is pretty early to find out, but I just, I'm tracking. I'm in tune with my body. And it would be another almost 2 weeks before a digital test would even read pregnant. But God had given me so many signs that gave me hope. Hope that I was so scared to feel, because what if? I honestly believed that after 2 years, this was our time. I had accepted that worst case scenario, we would have another miscarriage. But as I said, God had given us so many signs that even though I was scared, I was still hopeful. At 8 weeks, we had an ultrasound where there would be no heartbeat. And I want to talk a little bit about the ultrasound tech that would have been there that day. They had actually called in sick, so the manager of the clinic would perform the ultrasound. And I was a little bit caught off guard because he was a male, and in my mind it was supposed to be a female. And I don't know, maybe I thought that it would be easier to grieve in the presence of a female. But he was a godsend. He was so amazing. And we had told him that we were Christians, which he also told us that he was too. And I believe he was the one that was there that day because his sadness for us was palpable. I can't imagine having a career where breaking people's hearts is just part of the job, but he handled it with such grace and compassion. His calmness and his honesty throughout the entire appointment was very reassuring. And I know that my heart knew the outcome before he confirmed it. I think that even as I was hopeful, a piece of me was preparing my heart all along. That part of me knew I would be strong enough to get through this, and that God was calling me through this for a purpose, even if I'm not sure what that purpose is, or even if that purpose is just so I can share the pain that so many others experience. Leading up to this point, I felt called to pray for all of the women I know who are experiencing infertility, to brave, tough conversations in hopes of sharing their pain, even if for a moment. After our appointment, I've learned to allow others to share my pain, to share my sadness, and to grieve with me and for me. I sit here and I am not sure if my heart can handle another year of negative tests. This is a journey that no one wants to be a part of. I never wanted to be a part of this journey. In the last 11 weeks, my body has gone through so much. From early pregnancy, high doses of progesterone, from injections to daily pills, a masked miscarriage to progesterone withdrawal, to just the emotional turmoil that comes with carrying a baby that has no heartbeat and waiting until your body starts the process of miscarrying. The emotional turmoil of physically and mentally not being able to show up as the mom that my daughter is used to, or the wife I want to be. Having to remind myself that while my husband may not physically be experiencing what I am, emotionally he still feels the loss. I haven't been in the headspace the last couple of weeks to encourage and uplift others. But I was able to find a silver lining. And just before we found out, I was reading a passage that spoke about showing up to help others in the midst of your suffering, which now I'm realizing why I read this. Now my voice is even more scratchy than it was. But in an unexpected way, I've learned that praying for others during my own heartbreak has been truly healing for me, that I am stronger than I think. And this has taught me that it is okay to be angry and question God, that I don't have to understand, but I have to trust that it will work out in my good. Choosing to see this as more time to heal parts of me that need healing, more time to learn how to pray and show up for others even when I don't feel like it, more time to allow others to be there for me, and just more time to learn and to grow. So, this is a pretty short episode, but I wanted to put something out there, and I just feel like this was, what I was supposed to put out there for you. And I wanted to share this with you in case you are experiencing infertility, or maybe there is something you've been praying for and it just hasn't happened yet. I believe that God calls us through things for a purpose. He calls us through things for a purpose. And if we are willing to allow ourselves to feel the pain and to grow through what we are being called to go through, it will always work out in our good, even if it looks different from what we are hoping. And man, as I sit here right now, this is so different from anything I would have wished. But I just have to believe that it's for my benefit, even if it doesn't feel like it. And I just pray that the next time that God blesses a child in my womb, that I don't have to send that baby to be with him. That will be a child I get to hold in my arms again. And yeah, so I think that this is all I can emotionally handle right now. Wow, recording this has been so much more emotional than I expected it would be. And I have cried so many tears that I would think, how do I still have tears to cry? But it's okay. I'm going to let myself cry. And yeah, so in closing today, if you are struggling with infertility, I want to pray for you. Whether you already have a child or you have not yet got to experience what that feels like, but yearn so badly to be able to, I pray that God fills your womb with life, that He brings that baby earthside and wraps you in a cloak of comfort and warmth and surrounds you with loving arms while He works behind the scenes. I pray that God sends angels your way to remind you that He is working and that all of your pain and suffering isn't for nothing. I pray that God gives you comfort and understanding as He writes your story just for you. Until next time.